He's an artist. He's a world-class fencer. He's a beer brewer. He's a trained pilot. He's an entrepreneur. And he's so many other things. I'm sure that many of you want to take your cell phones out right now, and all the representatives of the media want to press record now. And yes, you should. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor and with great privilege to reintroduce to you one and only Mr. Bruce Dickinson.
Technology, don't you just love it? This was working earlier on. Imagine, if you can, the slide. It's sort of the back of my head. I'm sort of no, it's not. Well, anyway, there I was in Croatia last night, talking to some guys. Here we go. Let me. That's the universe. But not as we know it. Okay. It's very sensitive, this thing. Wait. There's the back of my head. And that's me doing one of my several day jobs. Actually, probably the biggest day job that you know me for, because all those people out there, and a lot of them probably, some of you might have been some of those people out there, right? Could we say that they are fans? Well, I hope so. You do hope so, don't you? But as a band, can I also mention that as an entrepreneur, we'll get to that bit later, as an entrepreneur, if I change one letter in the word band and change it to an R, you get the word brand. And that makes some people feel uncomfortable. Brand, oh, that seems corporate and weird, oh, it's rock and roll. No, because you are a brand. Every time you walk into somebody and you have a relationship with somebody and you meet them, they're meeting brand you, whoever you are. And you present yourself, yes, you present an image, don't you, to people. And that's who you are. There's nothing to be ashamed of, to be a brand. It's only to be ashamed of if your brand doesn't have integrity and your brand doesn't stand up for its own principles and what it believes in. So having a good brand is a good thing. So let's get back to our fans here, shall we? Let's get back to our fans, and shall we call them, well, maybe they could be customers. Well, there's a big thing. Everybody has to look after customers, right? Customer care. I know about customer care. Every time I buy a product, there's a leaflet in the back of it in 18 languages. And I read it and I think, and this is a customer care leaflet. I really feel cared for, because somewhere in there is English. Oh yeah, and I have to read really small print to read it. That's customer care. I hate customers. Everybody says you should love customers. No. I hate customers. Do you know why I hate customers? You know the definition of a customer? A customer is a person who can walk away. So when you walk into a shop, you're a customer, right? Hello, I'm walking around the shop. I don't like it. I'm a customer. I walk away. Now, I walk into the same shop. My wife owns the shop. I'm a customer, right? I walk away. I'm now a customer with a divorce. walk away, even if there's nothing really maybe interesting in the shop that I want to buy, because I have a relationship, I hope, with my wife who runs the store, and she makes my life better. And we have this thing, you know. And that's why I don't walk away. Who supports a football team? Oh, wow, okay. I asked the right question. Okay, when do you stop supporting your football team? Never! Never! From now until the end of time, your football team will lose every single match, and you never stop supporting your football team. That's not rational. That's crazy. But that's who we are. We're human beings. And Madam President there actually alluded to this when she was talking about the music industry. Oh, that's the music industry. There you go. Because the fundamentals, because everything is being disrupted, people think that everything, the story, is about what is the next disruption. No. Like the song, the Led Zeppelin song, the song remains the same. The fundamentals remain the same. That's why you're here and not watching me on Skype. Because you want to be here, because you want to be with human beings. Human beings belong together. That's why they're all standing in a field, covered in mud, freezing cold, and not watching it on YouTube. They might upload it onto YouTube, and all their friends will go, "Oh my God, you were there." That makes it special. Those fundamentals are about relationships. Relationships, relationships, relationships. Oh, it works. Okay, now this is my 2001 moment. You remember the movie 2001? Where the big slab arrives, sent to educate humanity and turn it from ape man? Well, this did it. Back in the digital revolution, this was the telephone, the phone that invented Finland. And it is my phone. This thing is held together with sellotape. Okay? I once dropped this at an engineering conference in Toulouse, in Airbus, and I dropped it on the floor. It fell into 6 pieces. And the guy went, "Oh, zut alors, it would never work." You know, went, "Oh, yes, it will." I put it back together, taped it up, switched it on. Well, actually, you have to get a pen and stick it in to switch it on like that. And he went, "Incredible, it works." But what really works about this, and actually, by the way, I was at a conference with Bob Geldof the other day, and after having a few drinks in the bar, we went to breakfast the next morning. I put my telephone down, and he came down, and he put the same telephone down next door to me. But this is not really about this is not a story actually really about a telephone. Just as this is not a story about an exploding Samsung. And it's not a story about an iPhone that you can drop in the bath, but you can't use your headphones. Right? It's not a story about the stuff. It's a story about having a conversation. I spend a lot of my time in some of the businesses that I'm involved in, trying to tell people to stop not doing work by sitting in front of a computer screen, sending emails to each other all day long. They will spend a week. Yeah, I'm copying you in on this email. Oh, I got a reply. I'm replying to your email. What do you think about this? Next day, They spend a whole week. They've done nothing. Nothing has happened except they've generated a lot of digital nonsense. They could have fixed the whole thing by picking up the telephone or talking to the gentleman in Bloomberg last night in the bar. He said, you know what? The guy works in the office next door. You could actually walk down the hallway and say, hey, what are we going to do about this? But no, because we're all digital and we're modern, we find excuses to disrupt ourselves, to avoid doing work by not talking to people. And actually, the technical element of things makes it more important than ever that we talk to people. It's people, it's people, it's people. What did Bill Clinton say? It's the economy, stupid. Well, it's people, stupid. That's what this is all about. Who is your audience? Who is your market? People. There's nobody else. Who else is there? It's us. That's who you're talking to. We get so hung up about digital. Now, I'm going to have a little chat about creativity, because obviously I write songs. And when I approach business in pretty much the same way as you write a song. And people want to know, how do you write a song? They always want to know which comes first, the music or the words. I don't know. Whatever happens first, happens first. And this is my little fella here. Who's been bitten by one of these? This is a mosquito. Everybody's been bitten. Who saw the mosquito that bit them? You did? After it bit you or before? Oh yeah, exactly. Because when you sit there and you wake up in the morning and there's a perfect, where did that thing come from? But when you switch the light out, all you can hear is, where is it? Where is it? Where? Ideas are like that. Every idea that we need to save the human race, to live forever, to cure cancer, and to figure out what the hell I'm going to do next in my life has already been invented. Nature has already put it on the earth. We just need to discover it. Like DNA. We didn't know about DNA. When we discovered it, we went, oh, wow, this is how we work. And we're learning more and more and more. Everything is in nature. All the drugs we discover have already been invented by nature. We just need to go and discover them. So the creative mosquito, these ideas are buzzing around. You need to be alive to them. And how do you become alive to them? Well, you need to remember what it was like to be a kid. What it was like to be a child. Not to be childish, but to be childlike. To dream. Somebody said to dream the impossible dream. Go ahead. What harm can it do? Dream the impossible dream. Because when you dream, crazy things happen. You'll find people that say, you can't do that. That's what accountants do. Accountants are the land of no. Okay? Until you're successful, in which case say, hey, I knew it was a great idea all along. I told you that would work. Jimi Hendrix, right, Jimi Hendrix. This is not about Jimi Hendrix's guitars or anything else like that. This is about reading a book that inspired me to do something a little bit crazy. And I read about Jimi Hendrix. He used to get himself around by jet aeroplane in the early days of his career. In the early days of his career, that was how you got around America by plane. It was a little bit faster than walking, but not quite as reliable. And Jimmy came, a new age was coming. The Boeing aviation company had invented an airplane that would open up air travel within the USA. And it was cheap. So Jimmy's manager said, hey, why do we need to take all this equipment with us when we could just rent it at the other end? And Jimmy gets on a plane, I buy a whole bunch of tickets, and where's Jimmy going to play? Wherever the airplane lands, that's where he plays. And that's what he did. And I thought, hey, what a cool idea. We could be like little airborne gypsies, because I was learning to fly. So I had a little dream that I would do this in an airplane. I put some equipment in there, and we'd go fly somewhere. We'd go and do a concert somewhere, a little club. And I tried it in America with one of my solo tours, and it was great fun. And then I rejoined Iron Maiden. I had about 5 years when I was out of the band. And in the intervening period, I got a job as an airline pilot, as you do. And I was flying an airliner, and I learned a little bit about the business of airlines. And I realized that in the winter, that's February, nobody wants airplanes. There are a lot of airplanes sitting around doing nothing. You know how much it costs for an airplane to sit around and do nothing for 1 month? $500,000. That's for a cheap airplane. $500,000 for an airliner. So I thought, maybe we could put our equipment in an airplane. And why? Because Iron Maiden had a problem. Because we couldn't afford to tour in Australia, in India, in South Korea, in Indonesia, Malaysia, New Zealand, all these Southern Hemisphere countries. Why? Because the distances were so great, the logistics were so difficult, and the accountant was the land of no. But the internet was the land of come on! You know, why don't you guys come? Otherwise we're going to turn fans into customers. And they're going to walk away. Because we never turn up. So I said, just suppose, just imagine, we take an airliner. Are you with me, Mr. Accountant? We take an airliner, we rent an airliner, and we put the equipment and the road crew and the band, and it becomes the world's biggest flying tour bus. A magic carpet to take us around the world, and we just join the dots in a logical way, and then everybody's happy, right? And he went, you know, that's a crazy idea, but it just might work. And that's what we did. So I'm the guy, there's one guy there that hasn't been up drinking all night. But that's what we did. That was in Brazil, in Curitiba in Brazil. And of course, when you do crazy things, good things happen. So that was that was probably the most photographed aeroplane in the world. More even than Air Force One, subsequently. And actually, you know, I don't know if that gave Donald Trump the idea to get his own 757, which is what that is. It looks a bit like the Donald, it's not. It's always the difficult passenger, he's always in first class. But we did the movie, we did the DVD, everywhere we turned up was CNN, ABC, Fox News, unbelievable. Fantastic. Result. All of our fans loved it, they all felt, and it's, commercially it worked. I mean, we did it 3 times around the world, and successive years. So from a crazy idea, reading about Jimi Hendrix as a kid, going, wouldn't that be great? And I happen to love flying. Oh yeah, and I got to fly the airplane, that was cool. To delivering a dream that really works. Anyway, unfortunately, that particular airline that I worked for went broke. Not because of anything I did, because something, unfortunately, that the then owner of the airplane, of the airline, did. He wasn't very successful in that regard. So, what happened next? I went, you know what? I've flown airliners for 10 years, so I was a captain, and I went, there's got to be some more. Let's have a go at something else. And so we started a garage for aeroplanes. Why would you start a garage for aeroplanes? I'm not an engineer, but I know there's a shortage of airplane engineering. Well, we started a garage, that's one of my garages. There was an Airbus in it. And what we do is we fix, this is 3 years ago, we started a garage to fix Boeing and Airbus airplanes. And we do, that's what we do. But the real reason we wanted what's called an MRO, the real reason we wanted to do that is because we wanted to start an airline for nothing. How do you start an airline for nothing? Okay, let me ask you this. Why do airlines go bust? Lufthansa are on strike? It must be the pilot's fault. No, airlines go bust because they own aeroplanes. Airplanes are expensive. They sit on the ground, they lose money, you go broke. But if you get an airplane for nothing, what does it matter if it sits on the ground? It doesn't cost a lot of money, and you can always tell the pilots to come back next week. Except if you're Lufthansa. So, this is the essential equation of what it is to be an entrepreneur. Okay? I was terrible at maths at school. Awful. I couldn't see the point of it, except that I had to pass an exam so I could go to university, so I could study history. Yeah, I needed maths. So, trigonometry? Why? What's the point? As long as I could add up, right? Well, later on, when you study to be a pilot, you figure out that there are some things about mathematics that are kind of cool. But at the time, I was like utterly pointless. I want to be a musician, I want to be a historian. But I do know the equation that you need to be an entrepreneur. 0 plus 0 equals 1. And I can tell you the other equation, which is when people get involved and there's a huge amount of money, and that's 10 plus 0 equals 0. Because an entrepreneur is going to be hungry, and he's going to be smart, and we use the word agile, yeah? You've got to be nimble, you've got to jump from one rock to the other, like a little frog on a lily pond. Because you're going to be dodging people that say, hey, you owe me money. I say, yeah, I'll pay you later. You owe me money, I'll pay you later. You owe me, have you got some money? Yeah, I'll take that, I'll pay you, and then I'll just run, I'll hide. And eventually, you land on the big lily pond because your idea is good. Which is the other thing you need to be as an entrepreneur. Never give up. Never, ever, ever, ever give up. And when you do fail, and you will, it's not a door closing, it's just a door opening to somewhere else. There's more aeroplane stuff. Well, we started our airline, and it just so happened that I met somebody. I used to fly to this place, the Republic of Djibouti, when I was an airline pilot. And I met a guy, we were over coffee, on a presentation about something totally different. We were having a little relationship moment. And he said, hey, you know, I'm from the Republic of Djibouti, and I represent the Port Authority, and we're restarting Air Djibouti. I went, no kidding, I used to fly there. He went, you know Djibouti? I went, yes. I said, come to Cardiff. He went, this is great. I went, you want the airline? So I flew to Djibouti with a British trade mission from Addis Ababa. Just turned up. I went, hello. And 3 days later, we signed a letter of intent with the government, and now we're flying, we're on our second aeroplane, going to 3, going to 4. I won't go into detail about Djibouti. It's an unbelievably cool country that is strategically massively important to the Horn of Africa. So we're very pleased to be running their national airline and getting involved in all kinds of other things, as you do, because it's a very prominent position. So I delivered that aeroplane to the president personally, and then unexpectedly had to make a speech on national television after being up for 12 hours overnight. So those are the sorts of things that, honestly, I love it. How cool is that? Really? It's those moments that you get. You think, pinch yourself, hang on a minute. You were a little spotty kid at school, that, you know, people went, oh, he's no good at maths, and here I am delivering an aeroplane to a sovereign nation, to the president, talking on national TV. Oh, me? You've got to be kidding. So, We said we'd never go and do a round the world tour again, but I also have a business training pilots. Why do I train pilots? Because we need them. Why do we need pilots? Because aviation travel is set to double. Where are we going to get pilots from? I don't know. So we have an aviation training business because we have that. And I did a good deal buying, I hope it was a good deal, buying some cheap second-hand simulators from a company who needed some space. One of them was a 747 simulator. We did some training for a company, and I just happened to be having a coffee. Oh, there's that relationship word again. And I said, hey, your 747s. He went, yeah. How many do you have? He went, we got 16. I said, you haven't got a spare one, have you? I think we do. What colour is it? He went, I think it's white. And is it passenger? He went, yeah. I went, how much per hour in the winter? He went, well, I'll find out. Well, then I had a little bit of a problem. Because I went to my manager and I said, do you want to go around the world again in a 747? He went, oh, wow, that would be huge, cool, yeah. But then I got throat cancer. Ooh, that was a bit of a bummer. That's worse than the accountant. That's worse than the land of no. So I was in the middle of trying to run 3 companies, up to here in debt, and I make most of my income from singing, and then I get throat cancer. That sucks, right? Well, I got over it. We got better. Never, ever, ever give up. Oh, hello. We vanished. Well, never mind, anyway, I'll talk anyway. Oh, there we are again. We popped up the other side. Just come up for air. So in the middle of all that, just after I got done with, I was still glowing from radiation and full of chemicals and everything, that's when I went down to Djibouti. My wife said, what are you doing? You've just come out of treatment for cancer and you're going on the way to Djibouti. You look like shit. And I went, yeah, I know. Everybody else tells me I look great, but I know they're lying. Alright? So I turned up and I signed the LOI. And she goes, there's malaria down there. I said, oh, I might get bitten by the creative mosquito, you never know. What you have to do. If you really believe in something, if you're passionate about something, everything in the world is just a little speed bump. That you are going to go there, and that is your destination, and that is going to happen. And that's what you need. That's what you need. That's the. Oh, there we go. That's. I keep looking over there. It's moved. That's beer. Now, Dvorin down here is a big fan of beer. The first place he took me when we landed in Croatia yesterday, he took me to a brewery. This is before the dinner with Madam President. Okay? So he takes me to a brewery. Fabulous brewery. Fantastic beer. Blackjack beer. Great. Loved it. And we got talking. Now, we're selling 2.5 million litres a year of that beer, and the new one. Oh, where's it gone? No, red and black. And it's another little entrepreneurial story, and it all starts because somebody came to me and said, shall we do an Iron Maiden red wine? Why? Oh, because you could sell lots of bottles. Yeah, but it's not us. Talking about customers, talking about fans. What do fans expect from Iron Maiden? What do I expect from Iron Maiden? We're an English band. We have a heritage in beer. Let's do a beer. Oh, you mean you just put a label on somebody else's beer? No! Integrity. We'll brew our own beer. We'll make our own beer in partnership with the brewery, but we'll design it. Actually, 3 of the guys live in America. One guy doesn't know where he lives, and the other guy lives in the far north, somewhere in England, north. So the only guy, unfortunately, who could test the beer with me. Hello? Oh, there we go. Why don't we bring the... More time. Hang on, I've got a microphone stand, strike a pose. So we said, why don't we bring the beer into Croatia in a truck, and why don't we take Croatian beer in the same truck back to the UK and sell it over there? That's a 0 + 0 = 1 equation, isn't it? Because you know why? Because it's good beer, every which way. We bring great Croatian beer back to the UK, they have great UK beer, and they drink it in Croatia, and maybe, you never know, there's a new airport opening up in Zagreb, okay? And you might just have to have an Ed Force One bar. That's a little crazy dream, you know. So last but not least, this is one of my projects as well. This is Airlander, this is carbon-free flight. This is the world's biggest aircraft. It's flying at the moment in the UK. I was an angel investor in it 8 years ago when it was just a dream. And that dream turned into a $300 million contract with the US government, which built the vehicle with us at Northrop Grumman, a small English company, a small English startup, in a field, in a little place called Bedford, right? Beat the Lockheed Martin Corporation in a head-to-head shootout for an American defense contract. We won. We built it. And then Obama... And what happens after that is, unfortunately, the Obama administration ran out of money. And anybody familiar with American politics will know what the word sequestration means. Basically it means, hey buddy, you run out of money and you can't spend any more. So a lot of projects had to be cancelled, ours was one. And so we went, well, what are you going to do with this incredible vehicle, which will deliver 50 tons of cargo, vertical takeoff and landing, doesn't use a runway on any patch of rough ground, sea, it's amphibious. So you can imagine Africa, with its lack of infrastructure, point-to-point delivery, Africa with humanitarian aid, Africa with people worried about food miles. This is zero carbon. We can run this thing on biofuel, 50 tons. We can fly it across the Atlantic, we can fly it across the Pacific, and we can drop it into the Amazon rainforest with whatever you want. So it's an incredible opportunity, it's a game changer in terms of logistics. Anyway, we benefited from having won the $300 million contract because we purchased the vehicle back with the help of the British government, thank you very much, for $300,000, which was a good deal. That same vehicle is now back in England. We have made it not in any way associated with the US defense industry. It's completely civilian, and we're test flying it right now. So watch this space, because this is a really, really cool development. And we are looking to do some pretty spectacular things with it. That's my little strange entrepreneurial world. But I'm just going to finish up with a story that just ties up, I suppose, what Adam Present talked about when she talked about the music industry. Because you talked about the music industry and said, yeah, look, what happened? Vinyl went to CD, went to digital, it was disruptive. Oh my God, it's the end of the world as we know it. It's a good name for a song. But what really happened was the song remains the same. Because you can think of it as the music, well, basically the music is for free now, but the t-shirt will cost you $50. So what's changed? Well, answer, nothing. Why do people pay concert tickets? Why do people want to buy your t-shirt? Well, they want to buy it because it represents something. It represents a relationship. And that relationship represents music. So the music still has to be fantastic. Even if you're giving it away, it doesn't matter. You still have to have that integrity. So nothing has changed. Only the method of delivery, only the way of looking at the world. You're looking from a different end of the same telescope. But there's one more thing. When the disaster that hit the traditional record companies happened, thousands of people lost their jobs. Billions were wiped off the value of companies that vanished, and nobody could believe it. Oh my God, we didn't see it coming. Well, they should have seen it coming, and they could have stopped it. But they chose instead to accuse the people that loved their product, music, of being criminals. We love it. We love your product so much that we want it 24 hours in a day, all the time. What company wouldn't go, wow, isn't that cool? We have a product that everybody wants. And of course they want it for free, if they can get it for free. But what crazy company would say, no, we're going to arrest everybody because you love our product? So those companies went, they disappeared. And yet, the bands who were on those record labels were still here. Why is that? Why did we survive and the companies disappeared? I'll tell you why. Because the people were customers of the record companies, but they were fans of the band. So, on that note, oh, yeah, what time is it? Oh, I've got to get back to England because I've got a business to run. Have a great conference, and I'm going to leave you with something very noisy, which is Iron Maiden's new portable, downloadable, free video game, which might sound just like a video game, but in actual fact, it's a Trojan horse, because what it does is it gives us new worlds, new dimensions to boldly go where no game has gone before, and it enables us to deliver music directly to our fans, to our people, if you like, who love Iron Maiden, and it means we don't have to go through Apple iTunes because everybody realizes suddenly that do you really want Apple to own your entire life? No. So this way we can go directly with our new game, The Legacy of the Beast. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic conference. Thank you, Devoy, Madam President, thank you very much. Candice, great honour to meet you. And crack on, never, ever, ever give up.